So there's 10 things I actually want to share. This is from John Mark Comer. So I take no credit for this. Go and get his book, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. If you have not read it, I promise you, this has been a life-changing book for me. It really has been. But it's in chapter 2 or chapter 3, but he calls it 10 symptoms to a hurried, sick life. So here's how you know if you need rest. Here's how you know. Think of this as your mental/spiritual checklist on if you know that you need rest, all right? So if I read any of these, just ask yourself, where am I in this? So number 1, irritability. Like, look at those, how you treat those close to you. Are you trying to pull a Havana White over there?
Yeah, is it going to put it on the screen, right?
You know what? That's a good idea. I will do that. For those of you guys who are watching, listening, she held her hand up like she's a Vanna White.
She's a Vanna White.
Vanna White.
Yeah, okay.
Number 2, hypersensitivity, meaning you're just easily offended. Like, you're offended at anything and what anyone does or says.
Oh, I lived there.
So, well, you might be tired.
No, I'm saying I used to I guess I should. I used to live there.
There you go. That's a better way.
I have paid rent there for many years.
Number 3, restlessness. Meaning you just hate Sabbath. The idea of rest, not even just 24 hours off, even just to take an hour or two off.
So when I think of restlessness, I think of busy work.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You know,
Truly.
and it's not so much I hate Sabbath. It's just I literally need to just move all the time.
Right.
You know?
But that's restlessness. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Which leads into point number 4, workaholism. You're hyped up on the drug of dopamine from working. That's why it's called workaholism. You know, number 5, this one's pretty bad. Emotional numbness. Another way to say it is you've lost the ability to empathize. Someone shares something with you that's hard. My mom's in the hospital. So-and-so passed away. Oh, sorry.
Or
that's people's response sometimes.
You think it's not like, that's what we're asking prayers for? Okay.
Yeah. So you just have not sympathize, empathize. Empathize will always move you into action. Maybe we should do a podcast on that one day. I love that topic of empathy. But yeah, emotional numbness, you've lost the ability to empathize. Number 6, out of order priorities. Life is reactive instead of proactive. Another way of saying it is life is happening to you instead of you leading it. Number 7, lack of care for your body. So you lack sleep. You lack exercise, you get sick multiple times a year. Maybe you get a lot of headaches or something like that, but there's just lack of care for your body.
You ain't got to talk about my story, though.
Number 8, I'm purposely ignoring you, escapist behavior. So things such as binging, we overeat, we overdrink, social media browsing, sports consumption. And here's the thing, those in and of itself, outside of overeating, overdrinking, those in and of itself is actually not bad. You know, it's not bad to binge a show if you like, obviously there's nothing wrong with social media when you use it appropriately. But when that's the go-to, when that's the thing to
That's when it becomes
veg
inappropriate, Uncle Mark.
Yes, exactly. And we will not tell that story right now. But yeah, number 8 is escapist behavior. Number 9, and this is typically the first one to go, slippage of spiritual disciplines. Mm-hmm. Anytime you can tell someone's exhausted, the first thing to go, to include me, typically the first thing to go are my spiritual disciplines. Oh. So you stop reading your Bible, you stop having personal time with the Lord, you stop going to church, you stop belonging to a church by going to small groups. So when I pay attention to people, like once you have rapport and relationships with them, when I don't see them at church for a couple weeks, like 1 week, got it.
Yeah.
2, also understand. 3 in a row. And 3 becomes 4, and typically when they're there on a regular basis.
And that's actually my biggest
red flag.
No, one of my kryptonites, because I really have to, especially if you're out of town or, like, that's a kryptonite that I really just have to fight hard of going to church, because it is very easy for me to shut myself off and just sit in my living room and watch TV, watch it on TV rather, not watch TV, but watch it on TV. So it is like, that's something I have to always be hyper vigilant about.
Which means you need to be aware and sensitive to your own shortcomings and temptations. So as you just acknowledged, for you, it's one of the first things for you to go is to stop going to church. For me, it's I stopped reading my Bible. That's the first thing for me to go. Like, worship is pretty easy for me. I go to church. That's easy for me. I'm an extrovert, and I love actually going in person. I love the corporate stuff. but the individual stuff.
Yeah.
So reading is one of the first things to go. Praying alone is one of the first things for me to go. So all that being said, know that about yourself, so that I love what you said, hypervigilant. You know, do it on purpose. And then last one, isolation. You feel disconnected from God. You feel disconnected from others and your soul. You're distracted and overwhelmed that your mind can't settle down long enough to enjoy the company of the Father.
Yeah.
Your mind is just moving in a bunch of different directions that the thought of just being present with God is just a foreign concept to you. So, quick recap. Number 1, irritability. 2, hypersensitivity. 3, restlessness. 4, workaholism. 5, emotional numbness. 6, out of order priorities. 7, lack of care for your body. 8, escapist behavior. 9, slippage of spiritual disciplines. And 10, isolation. And I think you said it like this: if you said yes to 3 or 4 of them, then you are living a hurried, sick life.
Yeah.
And you're not living in a
The first
posture of
time you
rest.
ever read that list, I think I was 10 out of 10.
Man.
Perfect.
So
I was so perfect in being messed up. I was a 10.
fail.
I was a 10 out of 10 on that. And I do remember, because like I was in a very unhealthy place in my life. So, oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, definitely irritability. And I already said hypersensitivity. I had restlessness. Definitely struggled with workaholism. I was emotionally numb. I had my orders out of priority. I was going to say my orders out of priority. My priorities out of order. Definitely didn't care for my body. And because you're just so far deep into this, like you just want to conserve as much energy as possible. So I wouldn't do anything other than, you know, what I needed to do, like what was absolutely required of me. So, you know, I'd come home, I am eating out all the time, I'm so stressed. It's,
And the purpose of addressing this list, guys, is it's not to shame you. Please know that.
Yeah.
It's to help you identify where are you so that you can get out of it.
Yeah.
So if you, I mean, to your point, let's just say you are a 10 out of 10. Now you know.
Yeah.
Like, that's a
I
win.
think that's the best thing that could happen, is that you're aware.
Yes.
Because once you're made
What's
aware.
the first thing that needs to happen?
Yeah. What are you going to do about it?
Correct.
What are you going to do about it?
So like, yeah, I mean, it's so now this is the same moment. Like, this isn't to shame you or humiliate you at all. Please know that. It's to bring awareness, though. And now that you know where you are, what's the next step? And here's a better way. So let's just say you are 10 out of 10. You may not be. Maybe it's only 2 out of 10 or 3 out of 10. Look at it this way. Look at it as a bucket of slats, right? If there's slats and, you know, whatever the lowest one, you might have 10 low slats, okay? The next question you want to ask yourself then is, which one is the lowest slat? Out of the 10, which one is the absolute lowest? Because if I fix the other 9 slats, but my lowest is still at the bottom, no matter what I do, if I fill up that bucket, it's still gonna, the water's still gonna empty at the lowest slat. So ask yourself, out of the 10, if you are 10, then just address the lowest slat first and go all in on that. If it's irritability, go all in on your irritability and fix that. Focus on that. If it's your inability to empathize with people, focus on that. Yeah. And one of the best things to do too is ask people who are close to you. Like, ask them, like, hey, you don't have to use the language that we use, a hurried, sick life. If you want to, of course, share it with them and you guys can talk about it together. But just ask them, like, hey, do I seem rested to you? You know? And here's the rule. You're not allowed to get defensive. You're not allowed to push back. The only questions you can ask is, what do you mean by that? And can you give me an example? So, like, listen, spouses, I promise you, your spouse will tell you exactly. They will tell you straight up. And they ain't gonna miss.
Unless you're hypersensitive and they know that and they're scared of you.
But fair point. There you go.
I was going to say, I think I'm a 1 out of 10 right now.
Okay.
Because I still struggle with isolation. Like, I do it unknowingly sometimes. Because of where I am in life and my schedule, it's easy to fall into isolation without like realizing it. It's like, oh, you should get out.
Yeah.
You should go. You should say yes to that event.
Yeah.
Because if not, you will be in the confines of your apartment.
For me, it's number 9, slippage of spiritual disciplines. Yeah. Like, I haven't.
Which is essentially leads to slippage for me.
Okay.
But like for me, like isolation it can happen easily without even realizing it.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this, be sure to check out some of our other stuff on this page, or check out our podcast on Apple and Spotify. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. See you there.